Hi, this is Charlie, and we are looking at crude oil here. So, traders all around the world you've got to trust me on this, will have been blowing up their accounts on oil in this past couple of months. Why is that? Why are traders blowing up their accounts? Well, if we all know that oil has fallen sort of 30% in this past 6 to 8 weeks, and the problem is that I talk about this a lot, that lots of traders out there um, don't use stop losses. So um, the problem with not using stop losses is that you have these black swan events. So you have these black swan events, which Nicholas Taleb talks about in his book, and black swan events. And so they're events that don't happen that often, but they happen more often than you think. And I remember the reading The Hour Between Dog and Wolf a couple of years ago as well, which is another great book by Stephen Coates. And they did a lot of testing and experiments in that to make that book. And they said that without fail, traders who didn't use stop losses at some point will blow up. These were bank traders, but they could have amazing track record. They could have like 1, 2, 3 year track records, even 5 year track records. But they said without fail, with the traders that they ran all these tests on and monitored, should I say, they found that they ultimately would all blow up on their trading accounts within the bank. Because they took too big a risk. And what happens even with retail traders all around the world, and others as well, just because it's not just retail traders that do this, but this is one of those situations whereby, imagine you get long up here, you don't use stop losses, and you could have traded for the last year not using stop losses. Market comes down a bit, maybe you add in a little bit, and then it bounces and you get out for a small profit. Maybe it comes down a little bit lower, maybe you add a bit more, and it comes all the way back up and you can make another bit of a profit, and you get out of it. But what can happen is a lot of people who don't use stop losses get away with it for a significant amount of time, and they'll have amazingly high win rates, because you'll see that they end up getting out for a profit, they have amazingly high win rates. But the problem can be is if they don't have that fail-safe, that overall stop loss, where at some point they have that hard stop in where, okay, they can do that, but if they don't have that hard stop in at a certain level, they are gonna be in a position whereby, well, hold on a second, it's not bounced enough here, it's come down a bit lower. Oh, it's such a shallow bounce, I can't get out there, I'm still underwater. Now it's gone lower. Oh, it's coming up a little bit for me, maybe it's going to come up now. Then bosh, then it comes down, 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 and all they end up doing is holding on, because you have to bear in mind, I'm sure many of you are watching this video may have even been there in your history, whereby you've done something like this. And by all means, do write a comment below this today's video if you have been in that situation, or you know someone maybe who's been in that situation, whereby they just got stuck and they couldn't bring themselves to closing the position. And that's why we have to have stop losses, because they are emotionless. They will just cut us out of our position. Whereas if we don't use stops, we'll end up carrying on hoping that it's going to come back up, and we won't be able to bring ourselves to closing out. And that's why I say, when you get a move like this, which has had hardly any retracements, that there will be traders all around the world who will have blown up their accounts 100%, without a doubt, categoric. And maybe you know someone yourself who has been in this very situation that I'm talking about here, or maybe you've gone and done it. By all means, if you have been, talk about it. By all means, post if you want to. But I understand it may be a bit painful for you to do that if you are one of those people. But this is why we always say use stop losses. There's a lot of people out there who advocate not using stop losses. And this is a great example of why these black swan events do come along more often than you think, Most of the time you can get away with it for long periods of the time. But there's always going to be these moves when the market just comes down and down and down and down, and you're caught, and all of a sudden you've blown 50%, 60, 80% of your, you've got wiped out of your entire account. So a good lesson there. Crude oil and what it will have done to people all around the world. I shall see you on Friday for live trading.